Hey everybody, welcome back to our PASL planning series. Today we'll be talking about Task 2, Continuous Professional Development. This video is designed for people who are either planning their principal practicum experiences or people who have put off their PASL test and now they're ready to take it. You're ready to go tackle the last piece that you need for certification so you can become the next certified principal in the great state of Texas, right? I'm Dr. Cindy Woody. I love to help people get ready to lead schools. So let's get started looking at Task 2. Task 2 is about continuous professional development. And I've colored the statement different colors for different parts because there's some expectations around this language. So this is straight from your PASL handbook. I've linked the website below. And it says, in this task, you will demonstrate your skills in establishing and supporting effective and continuous professional development with staff for the purpose of improved instruction and student learning. Again, this is an instructional task. You'll see that in all three tasks. I'm going to use the Plan, Do, Study, Act model to show you what they've done with this task 2. It's neatly aligned around this model. So in the plan part, step 1, you're going to be working with a team to study some data and make a professional development plan. And step 2 on task 2, you'll be doing some bite-sized professional development and some follow-up tasks. Step 3, walkthroughs and work samples. And step 4, follow-up survey and reflect on the PD plan. So plan, do, study, act. And I want to say, if you are stressed because you haven't collected all these pieces, I have other videos that help show you what to do with that, how to replicate things that you've done. You can also use work you've done in the past, and you can use work that you've tied in task 1 and task 3. You'll have three separate scorers or graders for each task. So it's fine if they're similar, if they use some of the same artifacts, all of that's fine. Don't stress out. You've got this. Okay, so in task 2, step 1, they'll be asking you to work with a team. So if you're thinking about who could be on your team, it can be anybody. It just needs to be somebody at your campus, most likely teachers. I usually say that advice is a team means at least you and 3 other people. So it could be the lead teacher group or grade level department chairs. It could be maybe you actually have a committee that you've worked with just for this. It could be the campus improvement committee. It could be anybody that wants to work with you on professional learning. And what they're asking you to do is to gather input to prioritize what kind of PD everyone needs. So by input, we're talking about usually a survey. You'll also look at student data. So if you know in your campus improvement plan, I always use the example of subtraction. Let's say that subtraction keeps biting everybody in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, and it's taught in 1st and 2nd grade. So then we would want to work on subtraction across the grade levels, and especially in those early grade levels to make sure it was taken care of. So then that gives you a priority, even though there's other competing priorities on campus. That one is one that rises to the top based on faculty input and student data. Also remember, this has to be an instructional weakness aligned with campus, district, or state goals. So I don't want to discourage you, but this isn't about classroom management. Even though classroom management's a big part of being an effective teacher, this is about the instructional, the academic data, if you want to call it that. And it can be a lot of different topics. It doesn't really have to be your traditional core subjects. It could be your CTE work. It could be science labs, always make a good one. It could be constructive response across subject areas. This is a process step. What they're trying to find out is, do you have the ability to plan something? Can you work with a team and put a plan together that's reasonable? And then you move to the writing about task 2, step 2, which is the do part, plan, do, study, act. This is where you implement the plan. So don't freak out. I know it sounds scary that you're going to implement a plan on a campus where you're either a teacher or you used to be a teacher. Maybe you're a brand new person to that campus. It's going to be okay. So you can do this alone, or you can take credit for what other people on your PD team do. That's fine. The main thing is that somebody's implementing this plan and following what you put together. So it's a job embedded type PD series. It doesn't have to be a workshop. It can be maybe lunch and learns, or maybe you're recording once a week a professional development tip and you're sending it out with a video and an email. Or maybe it is you did the back to school in service from 9 to noon on August 15th, and then you followed it up with meeting each PLC group, or um, just different ways to get in there and really talk to teachers and coach them on what this is they need to improve on. And then the evidence of your professional learning at this stage is that you give the people in your training a task to leave and do. So when they leave the training, let's say you're teaching them a new subtraction method or how to practice constructive response every morning in their bell ringers. They have this task they need to go do, and they're going to demonstrate that they've learned from your professional development by doing this thing in the classroom. And so this is your practice step. This is how they can tell, do you know how to, like, you don't know how to just plan on paper. You actually know how to do this in practice or in reality. You can carry it out. And then task three, I think task three is fun as long as you have some friends on campus. If you don't have friends on campus that would actually let you do this, you can practice it with somebody else. If you really need to do these walkthroughs. So in this stage, you're going to pick out your own walkthrough form, the walkthrough form of your choice. You can use your district one. You can just Google one. It doesn't really matter what form. And you're going to go into 3 classrooms and observe 3 teachers doing the thing that you taught them to do. So let's say that they're doing a bell ringer to practice a constructive response technique. And so you're going to go in these 3 different classrooms and you're going to watch them use this bell ringer to improve instruction. And then you're going to save one sample page from one walkthrough. It doesn't need to have a person's name on it. You can blot that out or whatever. If it's got any kind of identifying information, you need to make sure you have permission from them to submit this, and you don't turn the permission slips in. The same, we're going to talk about a student work sample in a minute. If you turn in something that you've collected a permission slip for, just hang on to that. That's just like worst case scenario where somebody says, oh, you didn't have permission to let my child's work in there. So you'll do 3 walkthroughs, then you'll follow up with 3 post-conferences, and you'll ask the teacher to bring a sample of student work to show that this thing is working. So if you're doing, we'll just say the bell ringer example, you're doing bell ringers, bring a bell ringer example and show how a student improved based on that. You're working with science labs. Maybe you found out that teachers don't feel comfortable in the lab. They're having trouble with science lab safety skills or something like that. So you'll actually go into the lab and then they'll bring back maybe a lab journal. And this is an analysis step. Do you as a leader know how to analyze like walkthrough data and teacher conversations, student work samples to lead the improvement of instruction? And I know you do. I know you can do this. And then the last step is the reflection step. This is the act part. This is mostly about you. At this point, you can say that you've worked with your committee or not. You're going to send out a follow-up survey about the part of the PD that has already been done. You're going to ask people how it worked for them, and it's going to show if you can handle feedback. So you'll have a place to write if you had some do-overs. What was the impact of the training that you led? What were some lessons you learned as a professional development person? What kind of changes would you make next time? Maybe how has the plan shifted? This is a reflection step showing if you as a leader can adjust and reflect based on feedback. And remember that you only improve on feedback that you seek, because a lot of times people aren't going to give the leader feedback without the leader asking. So it's a good habit to train yourself in. Don't fret over all of this. These are good things for you to practice while you're an intern or while you're working on this test. So I just want to say you've got this. I love this little symbol over here of the knob turning it up to max on the skill. That's for you too. You've got this. I know you do. So turn it up and get that PASL test done. And I want to hear that you have become the next certified principal in this great state of Texas.